Jesus gives one of the most out-of-pocket analogies during his Sermon on the Mount that you probably never noticed. It occurs in Matthew 7 where he says, "Who among you, if his son asks him for bread, will give him a stone?" And I know what you might be thinking to yourself, Robin, this is not out of pocket. This passage is very, very self-explanatory. Jesus explains himself. He says, "If you then, who are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask him?" Like, it's really obvious, Robin. He's trying to show us that God the Father knows how to give good things to us. To which I would say, let's look at the absurdity again. Who among you, if his son asks him for bread, will give him a stone? Not picking up on it? Okay, let's do this. Bread, stone. Bread, stone. Still not picking up on it? Okay, one more time. Bread, stone. Making sense yet? No? Okay, how about this? One of the things that you're going to find in the gospel, specifically John 8, is Jesus' statement where he says to the Jews that he's teaching, "You are of your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires." So the charge that Jesus brings against the Jews is that they are not doing their father's desires, but rather carrying out the desires of their true father, who is the devil. Meaning they're not living for righteousness, rather for unrighteousness, not for the desires of the spirit, but rather for the desires of the flesh. So when you're looking at this passage in Matthew 7 and going, what father in their right mind would give their child a stone instead of bread? The answer is very simple. The father of lies. And one of the other things you have to keep in mind here is that Jesus says that he is the bread of life. Because just as he refuted the devil when he was tempted with stones, he says, "It is written, man must not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." So when Jesus is telling the crowds, "If you who are evil know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask him?" specifically talking about himself. That's why he says, "Therefore, whatever you want others to do for you, do also the same for them. For this is what? The law and the prophets." What Jesus is specifically saying at this moment on the Sermon on the Mount is the good thing that the Father gives to his children is Jesus, the one proclaimed in the law and the prophets.